Kelly. Meredith came over this weekend. We had a blast. She taught at Spintronics with us, and they learned a lot of new choreography. Their brains were just like exploding and on overload. She's coming back next weekend again, so we're going to do some more choreography, and that should be a fun time too. We had a good time. Of course, she came and stayed over at my house, played with the dogs, had a pretty chill time there, and that was really good. Penny, are you enjoying? Penny, are you enjoying sleeping on my lap? You were really asleep, weren't you? Mm-hmm. Look who's here.
Hi! Oh, what a panini. Penelope. Baby. Come here, baby. Come here. Hi, baby. Nice to deal with you.
She got to see your video with Chongo playing in the snow, and it was really funny because I was looking at it and I was like, man, that doesn't even look like snow. That looks like ice. And then you're like, hey, it's the frozen pond or whatever. And it was pretty cool to see that you could like walk around on the ice so easily, and it was just there. And Chongo looked like he enjoyed himself too. All of our snow is gone. In fact, it's pouring down rain. It hasn't rained in a while. Like, it snowed last week, and we had a lot of snow for like a little bit of time. And it's been cold, but the snow melted, so now cold enough to keep the snow. And then last night it just decided to rain, and literally everything flooded overnight. So like, there's a river in our backyard, there's a pond across the street, there's, you know, the airport and the football field are all flooded. So it's just, I mean, you know how it gets if it floods in this town, everything floods. But that just happened overnight. We haven't had rain in a long time. So talking about like the current events in politics and stuff, I actually know some people who went to DC, and they went there to see Trump speak. And it wasn't the biggest speech ever. There wasn't, you know, millions upon millions upon millions of people there, and it kind of, the media kind of made it seem like that. And what they said from their experience there, now obviously I was not there, I don't know for a fact, but what my friends said from their experience was just that they basically went there, Trump made a speech, and then they witnessed the speech, and then they went back to the hotel room. And that was what a lot of people did. And there was really a lot of people who just went there for that, just to be a part of that, just to show support, not to be violent, not to do any of that. So those people who like went and stormed the Capitol, they specifically were there to be violent and to storm the Capitol. And it was not a very large group of people compared to how many were there for the speech even. So it really was, I mean, there's a lot of people saying that it was a race issue. You know, if those people had been black, there would have been a lot more, what do you call it, National Guard dispatched and stuff like that. And maybe that's true. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, especially after seeing everything that happened with the Black Lives Matters protests. But those people specifically went there to do what they did. They weren't just going there to support Trump. And I think the media kind of made that seem different than what it actually was. They were like, all Trump supporters are violent haters and so on and so on. And like, you know they're not. Like, and honestly, the whole idea about our country being divided, like, yeah, we're definitely not as divided as we were during the Civil War. But then again, also, like, they teach us that the Civil War was just about slavery, and it wasn't. You know, the people who write history are the ones who end up winning in the end, and the people who wrote our history books decided they wanted it to sound like it was just about Civil War, and it wasn't. There was just so much more going on in there. There's so much more going on now than just Trump supporters being the way they are. So it's really a lot more complicated than that, and everyone keeps trying to simplify it down, and that's where you get the divide, is that you have this giant divide created by oversimplification of this, oversimplification of that, and once you oversimplify everything and you make it black and white, and you're like, okay, you have to support one side or the other, there is no middle, And that's kind of what the media is doing, and that's what social media is doing to people, is they think they have to choose a side, and so they do. And then if they don't choose a side, they get like bullied or screamed at or whatever. I know we got ripped apart during the Black Lives Matter protests. Pentronics got ripped apart online because last year we only had white members on our team. That's it. Like we didn't have a choice. We don't have black students to go out and recruit, you know. We had one girl who was a student of color who lives like 4 hours away and said she wanted to come be in the show and said she wanted to come be a part of the team and then never came. Like, I was all about it. I was like, yeah, girl, come on. She's been to camp. Like, she's a good kid. Love her to death. And then she just didn't come. And that's fine. Like, whatever happened, she decided she couldn't fit it in her life. And, you know, we didn't purposely choose all white students over black students. We just been with the students we have. And we got ripped apart for that. And if you look at like our camp and you look at our staff and everything, we really have diversity. We have a lot more diversity even than this area because we attract people to this area for our camps and stuff like that. So but then again, even with all that, we still got ripped apart. And it's just a matter of people being angry and people being upset and there being unrest because they're not getting what they want. Whether it has to do with the specific issue that they're talking about or not, they're going to say that it does, just to make it relevant, just to make it go viral or whatever. And then, of course, there's people who just want attention, latching on to that and using it for attention. So it's frustrating. And the media blows things out of proportion, as always. And then the media in other countries is getting filtered through the perspective of that country. So you really have to look at it that way too, since you're seeing things from a German perspective and you're not necessarily seeing everything the way that it's actually happening. I mean, we're not even seeing everything the way that it's actually happening. You know, like the protests and stuff that happened, like I said, my friend had a completely different perspective on that from being there. So I don't know, it's just, what do you do? Everything is through a filter. Even stuff that you see yourself is through your own filter of your own experiences and your own life. I don't know. Now I'm just being really introspective. I gotta get to school.